Hey guys, I'm Billy, and if you're like me, you've had trouble in the past with coming out to your car in the morning and it just won't start consistently. Now, follow along in this video. I'm going to go over a few things that you can check pretty quickly, as well as replacing the starter in this 2008 Honda Element.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway.
Alright guys, so I know it's been a while since you've seen me work on the Honda Element, and I actually have been driving it most of the time now that I'm not really driving the white car. I still haven't made 100% of decision on that, but I'll do another video coming up soon on what's going on with that car and where that goes. But basically this has been my daily driver for the last several months. So before I continue on with this video, I just wanted to touch base on where the channel's at. Now, if you've been following my Instagram, then you know that I recently posted that I'm approaching 800 subscribers, and I've actually surpassed that over the last few days. Now, that being said, at 1,000 subscribers is where you can apply for monetization, so I am going to try to start pushing for more and more frequent content. So if there's anything you'd like to see, go ahead and drop me a comment, whether it's a build that you've been following or something that you would just like to see from the channel. Go ahead and let me know. So before I was driving this car every day, I was having issues with it starting intermittently, and now I never got stuck on the side of the road or anything like that, but every once in a while it would just not start. So there was a few things that I went through that eventually led me to replacing the starter on this car. So the first thing I decided to address was actually the battery terminal ends. Now the battery itself is pretty easy to diagnose. In my case, I actually just swapped it with a known good one from one of my other many Hondas. But in this case, I actually noticed that the terminals were in terrible condition and I decided to replace them. So whenever replacing the terminals, or even the battery in general, I always make sure to do a really good thorough cleaning of the battery terminals and the terminal ends and all of that with a wire brush. And in this case, I actually decided to install what I believe is actually like a little bit overkill, but they're actually a bike lock style clamping terminal end, which should be easy to use on and off. Now, before I go any further with this video, let's go over the things to check in a no start condition. First off, as I already mentioned, we usually start with the battery, or in this case, the terminal ends. With the battery, a lot of local parts stores and stuff like that will actually do battery checks for you to make sure whether it's good or not, but in my case, I just used a known good. So the next thing I always like to check, because I feel like it's easiest, is the alternator. Now the alternator will give you low voltage on the battery while it's not running, but it will also lower the voltage while it is running. Now, if you start the car, whether it's by jumping it or otherwise, and you're able to check the voltage across the battery, you should see somewhere in the neighborhood of 13.5 to 14 volts if the alternator is good. If you're seeing something like 11 or 12 or even less, then most likely your alternator is bad. So last but not least is the starter, which in my case was the component that I was after. Now if you have a known good battery and the alternator is really not involved in the starting process of the car, with a known good battery the car should start every time assuming your starter is good. In my case I was able to use a pry bar and tap the solenoid, and that actually engaged the starter, which allowed the car to start, which notified to me that the starter was indeed going bad. So let's go ahead and start the job of getting the old starter out and getting the new one in. So traditionally, almost every starter that I've worked on has required a few things, and that is disconnecting the battery and some level of intake removal. On the K series, which is prevalent in most of Honda's current vehicles, they've conveniently located the starter directly under the intake manifold. Even the factory service manual identifies the third step as removing the intake manifold. This intake manifold happens to be 2 pieces, and it only requires the removal of 3 bolts and 2 nuts to get the outermost part removed. Aside from the fasteners, be sure to remove the plethora of connector plugs as well as coolant lines that run to the intake manifold. Removing the intake manifold is actually fairly straightforward and can be summed up in only a few steps, but the real issue comes from trying to get it out of the engine bay. Despite having the intake manifold effectively removed from the engine, it still really isn't able to come out of the engine bay. So I decided to go in and remove the radiator support, which will actually give me enough room to manipulate the intake manifold out of the bay. Aside from the several 10mm bolts up top, there are a few more bolts down below near the radiator that will allow you to move the entire radiator support out of the way and remove the intake manifold. With the intake manifold removed, it becomes a much more straightforward job to remove both the power wire and the signal wire from the starter, as well as the two bolts that hold it into the engine. Be sure to also be mindful of any coolant lines or wire loom that might interact or interfere with the starter coming out. These bolts can actually be pretty tight, so make sure you have enough room to get in very easily so that you don't bend or break anything in the area. So when I had started looking around for replacement starters, most of them were actually more expensive than I anticipated, so I tried giving a cheap one a shot. So I bought one off Amazon, and to be completely honest, it was not even close and didn't really meet my expectations, but I tried to install it anyway. It slid into place fine, but I could immediately tell when trying to put the bolts in that the shoulders on the frame just weren't deep enough. So I decided to run down to AutoZone and grab another starter. Now, when I compared it to this cheap one that I got from Amazon, you can almost immediately tell that the Amazon one feels cheap and light and flimsy compared to the AutoZone or even the original one that just feels a lot more rigid and a lot more durable. Now, I hate to oversimplify things, but in this case, the installation of the starter is really just the opposite of removal. Get your two bolts in, get it hung on the engine, connect your electronics, and then go on from there. With the starter finally installed, I decided to further remove the radiator support and give myself a little bit more room to start reinstalling the intake manifold and connecting the rest of my hoses, wires, and brackets. So to be honest, I actually took a little longer than I anticipated to make sure that the intake manifold was seated properly. Now would be a great time to replace the gasket if that was something that you wanted to do. I decided to use the old one and haven't had any issues, but the biggest thing to remember here is to not force anything. You don't want anything getting crushed or damaged under or behind the intake manifold. With the intake manifold completely seated and reinstalled, now it's time to just button everything up, restore any brackets, reinstall anything that was taken out, including the radiator support or any of the hoses or wiring connectors or intake parts that you removed to get here. It's not a great shot, but here's where you can actually see me below getting everything tightened up on the radiator support. With everything reinstalled, I was able to start the car and then finish up by putting on all of the trim and any of the covers that I had removed. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to wrap up this video. Now I hope a bunch of you found it helpful, and I hope many of you watched it all the way through to this point. Like I've said in social media and earlier in the video, I am approaching 1,000 subscribers, which is the point where you can actually make any kind of money doing YouTube. Not to say that I'm going to quit my job and do this full time, but I will probably start posting more regularly as we get closer to that point. But definitely drop me a comment, let me know what kind of content you want to see, or maybe if there's a build that you're tracking that you want to see more progress on, definitely let me know. Other than that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Placing the starter and some of the battery stuff as well. I don't like any of this. Through, and I definitely have a more so I really appreciate everyone watching. Go ahead and drop me a comment if there's other stuff that you want. Go ahead and wrap up this video. So if you made it this far, and if you watch any of my other and if you're like me, you've had issues in the past with your car not starting. Just won't start. Now, I've had issues with this car starting intermittently. That's with your car not starting every time you come out to it in the morning. Now, if you're like me, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.